Hello, my dear students and the rest of the learners. Welcome to part 4 of a 41-part series of tutorials in Fundamentals of Object-Oriented Programming in Java. In this presentation, we are going to learn about how to create a new project in Java. My name is MemJM, or you can simply call me MLSwap. So in this tutorial, we are going to look at how to create a new source file, how to compile and run the program. We are also going to see how you can debug your program. Let's begin by creating a new source file. Due to the fact that all code in Ellipse or Eclipse needs to live under a project, you need to follow the following steps in creating a new source file for your source code. In other words, my dear students and the rest of the learners, it's always important to note that whenever you are creating a Java program, it is always good for you to organize your files or your programs in terms of project. And the name of the project that you give should match or tally with what or the roles that your programs that you create will be performing. So the name of your project must always indicate or symbolize the type of files or source code that is found in it. And therefore, whenever you are told to create a new program, whenever you are told to write a program to solve a certain problem in Java, it's always important for you to launch Eclipse first or any other IDE, for example, NetBeans. Once you have launched or loaded your IDE, then you proceed with the first step being to create a project for your file or for your files. And therefore, the following is this process of creating a new project. And in this case, I'm going to use or illustrate how you can create a new project using Eclipse. But remember or note that the process of creating a project in Eclipse is almost similar to creating the same using NetBeans or other IDEs. So the first step is once you have launched your Eclipse or your IDE, that is Integrated Development Environment, you proceed and click on its file menu. Then you point on New and select Java Project. The second step is from Create a Java Project window. You type the name of the project and the project name, and then you click on Finish. Always remember not to bother making any settings for the rest of the options in this window. A newly created project with the name that you give will appear under the package Explorer pane, as I'm going to demonstrate. If you double-click on that project, it will be expanded, and you'll notice that Eclipse will have automatically created a folder to store your source code that is called SRC and a JRE system library for your project. The third step is to create a class for your project source file by clicking on File menu, pointing on New, and then selecting Class. You can simply right-click on your project's name, and then you choose Java class. So from the new Java class window that will be displayed, you need to specify the following. One is the name of the package, and this name of the package should be in lowercase. Number two, you select the class name. Now the class name should be similar to the name of the file for the source code. Then under modifiers, you can select one of your choice, for example, public. Under method or under method stubs, choose, for example, public static void main. Then fill in the necessary information and click Finish. You will now be able to notice that the following will be automatically generated. That is a directory structure for package and actual Java file, and some source code will be loaded into the editor pane. The third thing you need to do is to add your source code to the skeleton given as required or adhering to the syntax for Java. In other words, my dear students and the rest of the learners, once you have begun or once you have displayed the editor for your program, what you just need to do is you just add the code or the set of instructions that you need to include in your program by just including those instructions within the body that will be provided for you, as we are going to see. For example, the following is a source code for a program that displays a welcoming message. So the name of the package is welcome. Then public class welcome. And then within the public class welcome, we have the main function, which we call the main, and its syntax is public static void main string, then args, as you can see. Then under the main function of in Java or object-oriented programming, we don't call it a function, but we call it a method. So within the main method, you can add a statement, for example, system.out.println, habari yako, welcome to Java programming. My dear students and the rest of the learners, it is important to note that anytime you have this opening brace, there must be a closing brace, as I'm going to explain within the series of tutorials. And then you can end it. So this simple program is simply displaying the welcoming message. Habari yako, welcome to Java programming. We are going to learn more on how you write your Java programs and what each statement means. But what is important for you, my dear students and the rest of the learners to note, is that it is always advisable that the name of your package be almost similar to the name of your class. And the name of your class should match with the name of the program that you are going to create, which is .java. In other words, ensure that the name of the public class, is the same as the name of the file that you create. And the name of the package should be almost similar to the name of the class and of the file you are creating, but the name for the package should be in lowercase. So let's code this program using Java, and then we see what happens. So, my dear students and the rest of the learners, the following will be the process, or the following is the process that you need to follow to be able to create your Java program. And this is our first program in this series. So what you have to do is that, first of all, you have to click on the Start button or Start menu. Then you can scroll from the list of the Start menu or under All Apps to find Eclipse. Remember, you have to launch your IDE first because you are going to create your program using the IDE. So if you have Eclipse, you load Eclipse. If you're using another type of IDE, for example, NetBeans, you search for it and you click on NetBeans. So here we have Eclipse, and then you select or you click on Eclipse IDE, Eclipse IDE for Java developers. Like this one now here, Eclipse IDE for Java developers. And you can see there's also this option here, Eclipse IDE for Java developers. So let's just click that option there. Once you click your program, you wait for your IDE to load. Note, when you are told to create a Java program, you might not be told to launch IDE. So if that's not specified, what we just need to do is, first of all, to launch the IDE that we're going to use to create and manipulate your Java programs. So in our case, or in this sequence or series of tutorials, I'll be using Eclipse and on a device that you also install and download Eclipse. If you don't know how to do that, go to MLSwap ICT YouTube channel and then check on part 1 of this series, part 2 and part 3, in which you are going to learn even how to download and install and configure Eclipse. So once you have launched your IDE, like in our case, we have launched our IDE. What we need to do next is to create our new project. So you don't just come to the IDE, this environment, you don't just come here and you start coding your programs anyhow. What you need to do is to create a project. And you create your project by clicking on File menu here. So you click on File menu, and then once you click on File menu, you point on New. And you look for Java project. Java project. So you click on Java project. Once you have clicked on Java project, you'll be taken to this window. This window that is New Java project. You can see the heading is New Java project. So once you are in this New Java projects window, you look for the project name, this part. So this is where you name your project. And note, the name of your project should always portray, just as I've said, the purpose of your program. Let the name be meaningful. So because we want to create a program for displaying welcome message, I'll just call it welcome. So our name of our package will be welcome. So you click under project name and you can type or you type welcome. Let's see what happens if I type it in the first letter being uppercase. Welcome. And you can see what Java is telling us. Create a Java project. Discourage the module name. By convention, module names usually start with a lower case. So you write welcome in lowercase that way. So that's the name of our project. Once you have typed the name of your project, you can proceed and click on next. Let's click on next so that you can see what is there, though you can click directly on finish. So this is the Java settings. Let's go back to help you see. So once you have created your project, you can ignore the rest of the parts. You don't even need to click next and etc. You can leave these other settings. So what you need to do is that once you have given your project a name, just click on finish. Don't bother making any other settings. Don't bother making any other changes. So once you are here, you can see that the name of our project has been added here. So this is the name of our project. So if you double click on this project or on the name of the project like that, you can see we have some subfolders in it. We have the JRE, which I explained in the previous series of tutorials, and we have SRC. So what we need to do is, now that we have created our project, this is our project. The project is called Welcome. The next action that we need to take is now to create a file, within our project. So what you do, you can either click on the file, then you click on new, and then you click on Java class, or you click on the class. But it's always good to create your files within your project by simply right-clicking on the name of your project. Right-click on the name of your project, then point on new. When you point on new, you look on this list for Java class. So you look for class, Java class. Here we are. So you click on Java class. Once you've clicked on Java class, you'll be given this other window. This is where now you need to make some further settings. And sometimes this window will depend on the version you are using, the version for your IDE. But the way you make your settings is almost similar. So what we are doing is that we are creating Java class. Already you can see the heading here is Java class. So where do we type the name of our, where do we perform our next step? Our next step is to look at the name of the package. As you can see, the name of the package is similar to the name of our project. The name of the package is similar to the name of the project. So you don't change the name you've been given. Don't alter it, let it remain. The name of the package should always match with the name of your project. So the part that we need to fill is this part, the name of our class, the name of our class. And note, the name of the class should portray the purpose or the function of our program. And therefore, it is advisable that the name that you give, to your class should match with the name of your package. So we are going to call it welcome. So you type your class name there under name. And then we have modifiers or other items you need to set. So you ask yourself, what type of class are you creating? Are you creating a public class? Are you creating a package? Abstract? None? Sealed? So our class is going to be public. So what we need to do is we are going to click on public. And as you can see, public is already highlighted. And then we have other options you can set. So don't bother with the rest, just come here. Which method stubs would you like to create? When you choose an option here, your work of coding will become easy because some part of your code will be added for you. So what option are we supposed to set here? The option we are expected to set here is we can choose the checkbox for public static void main string because this is our main method. So let's include it there, leave the rest. So always remember, when you come to this Java class window, the things you need to set is the name of the class, which should resemble the name of your package. And if it's possible, let them match, let them rhyme. So I can alter, I can further change the name of my class by making this to be small that way, so that the name of the package and the name of the class match. And then you specify the modifier and let our modifier be public. And then when you ask which method stub would you like to create, choose public static void main, because even if you don't choose it, you may be forced to add it. And then lastly, you click on finish. Once you click on finish, you'll be brought now to the editor. Already you can see that our file's name has been added extension .java, and that name is also on top here. You can have several open files or source files, but you can move from one to the other by just clicking on its name. So this is our file that you are working with. And you can see from this end, this part, from this pane, you can see that our file has been included in the project called welcome. You can see the project is called welcome, the package is welcome, the file is Java, welcome.java. So, my dear students and the rest of the learners, that's how you launch your editor. And you can see some source code has already been added to you. So what you just need to do is to add some more syntax within your program. You can see the comment here is the to-do auto-generated method stub, or in other words, one of the methods have already been added automatically. That is this method here for the main. So what you need to do next is now to click at the respective places and add your additional code. As you can see from the program that I was displaying, we have package welcome, public classes welcome. Then you can see that we have the public static void here. You can see this part. So the package is welcome. The public class is welcome. And you can see there's a variation here and here, but this one is not a problem. However, it's good for them to match. So the only part that we're going to add in our program is this part here, system.out.println, habari yako, welcome to Java programming. So that's the only bit we are going to add in our program. So how do we do, or how do we go about it? So what to do is you need to click in between this brace and this brace, because our code will be added here. So you can just click, for example, there, and press enter, and then type your statement here. So let me type system. We are going to learn more on what each of these means in my subsequent series of presentations. System.out.println. And then we have a double quotes, and then we have symmetries. How are you? Habari yako? Habari yako. Then it has said, karibu to Java programming. Karibu to Java programming, and then there's a semicolon there. So if you look at this programs tab or this program, it is similar. It is similar to this one. Habari yako. Welcome to Java programming. Habari yako. Welcome to Java programming. I've even written in Kiswahili this part. Karibu. So for the sake of consistency, let me retain it as it is in my explanation. However, note, this statement that is in double quote can even be in mother tongue or any other language. So, my dear students and the rest of the learners, that's how you code your program. But always remember, as you code, it's always good to save your changes. So, how do you save your changes? How do you save your source file? So, the way to save is you can click on this button here or this icon, or you can click on file menu here, and then you choose save. So let's click on this button here for save. It's the fastest way to save. The other option is to click on the file, and then you click on save if you have not saved. But as you can see, I have already saved. If you want to save it in a different location, you can always click on save as, and then you choose where you want to save. So we have saved our source code. So that's how you create your first project and you create your first file. So what next? Once you have coded your program, just as I've said, the next step you need to take is to save your file by clicking on File menu and selecting on Save, or by just clicking on the icon for saving. You can also save your source file with a different name or in a different location by selecting on Save As from the File menu and providing the necessary information. So, how do you save? We have already seen how to save, and we have saved. So if you type something like that, that means that's an additional change. You can always click on this option here, save. But if you want to change the name and store it in a different place, you click on File menu, and then you click on Save As. You can see, once you click on Save As, the Save As dialog box appears, and therefore you can choose where you want to save your folder or your file, in which folder. So for us, let's retain it as it is. Let's retain it as it is without making any further changes. Once your program has been, or once you have done with the coding and you have saved your file, then the next thing you need to do is to compile it and run it. So one of the huge features of Eclipse is that it automatically compiles your code in the background as you type it. Any bugs identified will be highlighted in red as you type your code and allow you to debug them as soon as they are realized. Eclipse may have suggestions on how to fix the problem. If so, a small light bulb will be displayed next to the line of offending code, and thus you just need to select the correct suggestion from those listed. There is thus no need to go to the command prompt and compile code directly. Then once you have compiled your program, you proceed to run it or to execute it. To run your program or your code, you just right-click on the class, and then you select Run As and choose Java Application. You can also run your program by selecting on Run command from the Run menu, as we are going to see. And the output of running the code will be displayed in the console tab in the bottom pane, just below the source code editor. So, how do you debug? To debug the program, just as I've said, Eclipse comes with a pretty good built-in debugger. You can set the breakpoints in your code by double-clicking in the left-hand margin. Breakpoints are represented by these blue bubbles. You can then enter debug mode by right-clicking on the class and selecting Debug As and clicking on Java Application. If a dialog box appears asking if you want to switch to a perspective that is more suited for debugging, you click on Yes. You can then proceed with the debugging process. Eclipse has many perspectives based on what you are doing. By default, we get the Java perspective. So the following is a demonstration on how to create the new project just as you have done and a new source file. Then you debug it, compile it, and run it. So because already we have learned how to create the new project, we have learned how to create a source file, then the next thing we need to do is to debug our program. In case it has errors, we compile it and we run it. So let's go back to our program, our source file, this one. So what we need to do once you have saved your program, in case it has any errors and those errors have been highlighted, then you can proceed and you click on Run and then you click on Debug. So far, our program is not having any errors. But as you can see at the bottom here, it is showing the message about Yako. Welcome to Java programming. In fact, due to the fact that our program has no errors, it's as if we have executed it. But if there were errors, those errors will be highlighted, as we are going to see in the subsequent presentations. So what to do once you have coded your program, you can always compile it. You can always compile it. So let me click or let me terminate the debugging process because we are not debugging. So in Java, just as I've said, compilation is usually done as you type your code. Why? Because as I said in the previous presentations in this series, Java contains both compiler and interpreter. So the interpreter interprets each of the statements or translates each of the statements as you code. If there's an error, the interpreter highlights. The interpreter highlights. And therefore, our program has no errors at all. So what we just need to do is to directly run our program. So you can click on Run directly. And when you click on Run, if there are no errors, you see your results at the bottom here, the output part. So you can see already this is the statement. This statement here from this part. So you can see the program has executed and already our output is there. What are these other items displayed on these other parts? At the bottom here, you can see problems. If you click on problems, you'll see if there are any problems. You have no problems. Then you have the Java document. You see, we don't have any Java document. Then declaration. Our program has no declarations. But then there's console. Console is the output. And that's what we are seeing here as the results. So my dear students and the rest of the learners, once you type your source code, the next thing that you can do directly is to go directly to running your program. But if there are errors, you do the debugging. So one thing that you need to note, my dear students and the rest of the learners, is once you make any changes to your program, you have run it and you have executed, or you have compiled, you have debugged, you have executed, is always to remember to save any changes that you make before you exit. So to exit from the file that you have created, you click on File menu and then you close. So you can click on Close or Edit As in case you want to close the program completely or your source code completely. And then you can click on File and then you click on Exit to come out of your IDE once you are done. And with that, therefore, my dear students and the rest of the learners, we have come to the end of part 4 of the series in which we have learned on how to launch your IDE such as Eclipse, how to create a new project, how to create a new file, how you name your package, how you name your class or your public class, and how you name your file. You can now continue or proceed to part 5 of 41 of the series in which you are going to learn on how we can use a text editor such as Notepad and command prompt to run our Java files, to code and run our Java files in case our computer or your computer does not have an IDE such as Eclipse or NetBeans or any other. And with that, congratulations for learning part 4 of 41 on creating a new project in Java. That is creating a new project in Java and the fundamentals of object-oriented programming using Java. You can access the rest of the parts in the series as well as other computer or ICT videos by clicking or tapping on MLSwap ICT YouTube channel below this video. To subscribe to the channel, tap on subscribe button below this video in YouTube if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further correspondence, kindly write it to us through the email mlswap@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening to me, and let's meet in part 5 of the series. And God bless.